Hi there, it's Mike Smith from the I Am Life, and today I'm going to be reviewing a product from Brett Rutecki called Mymailit. It's an autoresponder. It's a fine product, and it's the interesting part. There's no monthly fees. It's a single investment with no monthly fees. Very fine product. I'd like to take you through it, and let's take a look at it. Okay, so we're going to log in, and this is the dashboard page that pops up when you first log in. Gives you some welcome information about the number of subscribers and total list that you have, things of that nature. And this is the main dashboard access up here at the top. And there's 8 of these blocks: settings, contact support, subscribers, tutorials, list, tools, emails, and sequences. Now I clicked tools, didn't mean to, but let's go back here to the beginning. Okay. So what we're going to do is take a look at each of these in general, and we'll come back to a couple of them after the fact. Settings and My Account up here are the first 2 things you get involved in, because in the My Account section, you have to put your time zone offset for your emails to be correctly positioned throughout the world, because you could be emailing to a lot of different locations. You need to set your time zone offset, very straightforward. We're on the East Coast here, and that's a -5 offset from London. Okay. If you don't know your time offset, just find it, click here. You'll bring up a map. It'll show you exactly right up here which time zone you're in relative to where you are in the world. So it should be pretty straightforward for you to take care of that. Okay, so let's get back over here. So you'd set that, make sure you've set that up and update the account to include it. The second thing that we really want to do, and it's because these are the ways that you want to make sure that everything is set up correctly in the beginning, is the settings. So we'll go over to settings, and this will actually display all of the settings that are required for you to be able to make sure that your Mymailit works properly with your supplier. Okay, so on your hosting service, you'll have set up email access on your hosting service. You will get that information from them relative to the hosting, the SMTP host and the port. They'll help you provide that. I use Namecheap, but this is the particular settings for Namecheap. At my hosting service, I've set up some email contacts. So I've set up several different emails. One is this one right here, mike.esh, which is my main one, and I've created a password for it. And I use that as my SMTP from and reply to emails. The IMAP host and port, also you get this from your hosting service. It's generally one of these here and generally one of these up here. So generally speaking, these are the things that you'll be looking at, these here. Make sure you ask your hosting service. It's easier than trying 15 different combinations. Next you will set up a bounce email, a bounce user, and a password, because what we're going to do is within the framework of Mymailit, we test for bounces, so that once a email address is bounced a certain number of times, it is considered a bad URL, and it'll be removed from the system. And that's great, because you don't want to be just don't want to have bad URLs in your system. We're trying to watch out for spam and all the rest of those bad issues. Bounce tolerance, I've set mine for 4. If it bounces 4 times, it'll be removed from the system. Throttling, I talk to my hosting service using for my email account with them, and they'll tell you how many emails you'll be able to send out every number of X minutes. I mean, you may have a fast enough service you can send 100 emails, 1,000 emails every 5 minutes. But mine, I've got it set originally pretty low till I find out exactly how often I'm going to email and how much they'll tolerate with the number of emails that I send out. What you'll do though is save these settings. Okay, I'll save these settings, and they're saved. Okay, and you'll then double check these settings by sending a test email to some email location that you have access to. Send it to yourself, or if you've got a Gmail account or something, send it out to them. Do a send. If it sends out properly, you'll get a notification right in this area. If there is an error with it, you'll also get an error. It says that did not send. And if you get an error, it means one of these is not correct. So you'll have to go back through. The most likely cases will be the SMTP port name and IMAP port number, and port name and number and port number. I had an unusual case that in the midst of doing this, I made a change on my domain where this password for this user got changed, and I didn't even think about it, and just failed. It started failing on me, and I'd been using it up to that point, and I suddenly realized, it took me a couple minutes to say, wait a minute, the password doesn't match. So I had to go back in and make sure this password matched the one I had set up on my domain. Silly on my part, but stuff happens when you're in a hurry. So you can test your emails, make sure that all these settings work. Once they work, you're really set to go. So generally speaking, the first things we start talking about is, since we have an autoresponder, we really would like to have subscribers. So here in subscribers are the methodologies that you would use to add subscribers to your email list. Remembering you can have multiple lists. So you could add a subscriber, and it would say which list do you want that subscriber to go into. You could have multiple lists, and what's his name, what's the email address, and click to add that subscriber. That's a single ad. Secondly, under subscribers, you could upload a list. Let's suppose you've offloaded a list of subscribers from a prior service, or just from a list that you've manually collected in a spreadsheet of some kind. You could upload those subscribers using a text file, and it would be a list that was one subscriber per line, a maximum of 2,500 at one time on it. Okay, so you could do the file, or the file name here, and the list that you wanted to load this into. So you could actually bring a list up, upload it into the system from a list. So that would be a mass or a bulk ad. Lastly, the most normal case that we do subscribers is from an opt-in form that we've created to present something to a potential subscriber to get them to log into or to opt into. So in that case, we would create a form somewhere, and on that form we would have the list that we wanted these to go into. Now, what's been provided here by the creators of this software is a tool that helps you build those forms, and it's a nice form builder. And I'll take a quick look at it right now. It would be it's just a form builder. In the form builder, I've already created a bunch of forms that I've actually started to use. In that form builder, you would have, you would create some kind of a form, through this, using this editor. Now here's a real simple little form. It's a single column form that I've created just for slide capture, or something that I've gotten some opt-ins from and added people to my list from. So what we would do is make sure this is all up here. That would be a form that I've created, and I created that form using some of the things over here on this side, which I want to show you without damaging this particular one. I'm going to go back and create a new one. I'm going to go say, okay, and I want to create a new one, and I want to use the templates. I could create a regular form, but I want to use templates. If you decided not to use the templates, and I'm going to go back here, I'm going to go back here for a minute to the dashboard, and I want to create a new one, and I want to say, let's see, I had a couple down here. I'm just going to delete these so I can get rid of them. I was playing with this earlier, and you'll see that I've got some down here that I'm going to get rid of. There we go. Like test 3, I'll delete that. Okay. And this last one here, which is, let me see here, right here. 1 second. And test 1, 3. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of those. Okay, I really don't want those. Okay, now I'm gonna go back up here, and I'm gonna just create a new one. So I want to say, okay, I want to create a form. So I would go to create form, and this will bring up the form builder. Okay, I'm gonna give the form, I would give it a name, and so I would say something like, test number 1. If I could type test 1. Okay, good, test 1. And I'm going to create a new one. Now that form now is at the bottom of the list, so it'll be all the way down here at the bottom right there, test 1. We just created that. And now I would go into edit it, and by editing, I'll create the form at that point, okay? So this is how the page, here's how the editor first opens up. You'll notice that it's got just a standard transparent background basic form. You could change this, or you could actually add stuff to it. There's 5 widgets up here. There's a text widget, image widget, a video, a YouTube video widget, a clip art. There's a lot of clip art in here, and a color box, so you could colorize it, etc. Although you will find that it's a lot faster and easier to say, let me bring up a template. And I'm going to bring up the template. There are 50 of these templates. There's 50 templates that you're free to use to use as a starting point to create the opt-in form that you want. And there's some single column ones. There's double columns. You can just go crazy with this if you wanted to. You might, let's say you wanted to add a video, which is really an interesting thing to do. But let's just say I'm going to put this one in. I'm going to select that template. Now I'm going to, since I don't want exactly this template, I want to like change this here. I'll say this is, I'm going to bring this up and I'm going to say this is, oh, I can't type today. And I want to change the size of this, and I'll make it down like a 24. And let's see if it fits okay. And I want to update to that. Okay, now I'm going to put now, I said, Mike will show you how to build an interactive audience. Blah, 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 blah. Over here, I could place the YouTube code for a YouTube video. So now I could have this opt-in form where I could place this on a page or a post on my website that would play a video when someone got to this location on the page, and it would give them a video and an opt-in form, so they could say, hey, if you're really interested in this, give me your name and your email. Now, I don't even have to put their name down. I could do just the email, because over here on the form options, you have show the name field, yes or no. If you say no, it won't show the name field, it'll just show the email request. So you can set your opt-in form up whatever way you want. As far as the button, which is this area right down here, you can change the button to sign up. You can say download now, and whatever way you wanted to do it. Okay, you can, let's make it a big D. So download now, and I'm going to say, okay, download now. So you can actually change this to fit yourself. You can change the backgrounds of these. These are all movable. They're all changeable. You can retype all these. You could use different graphic arts here, clip art. It's all going to be up to you. You could change the wording up here. You could put your own video in. So you could really modify this, what would be considered a standard template, to be totally unique to your needs. Nextly, over here we have the thing called pop-up. This can be used as a pop-up, and I'll show you in a second how you do that. But if you use this as a pop-up, you could say you want a transparent background, you want the thickness, the width, the height, how big do you want this to be, and a redirect URL. This is always important, because when anybody clicks on this opt-in form, if they click this button here, the download now, it's going to go to the redirect URL. So it'll go to this redirect URL that you're going to type in here. And you use the full URL, HTTP or HTTPS : your address and your page address, page URL, I should say, I guess. So make sure you think through when you're doing it. Now, nextly, over here is a thing called list. And when you go to list, this says this opt-in form will be attached to one of these lists, and you'll select a list. So you'll say that's going to be my free downloads list, because I'm going to give them something free. So now anyone who logs in or opts in, to this particular form, wherever it lies, wherever this form is at, if they opt in, it's going to go into your email list, or called free downloads. So that will be in your autoresponder, which you can then use to send emails, etc., etc. So then we say, well, what the heck? How do I do this? I'm going to save this. Okay, I'll save this. And it's now saved. If you exit this without saving, it's gone. And now I'm going to go back to the dashboard. So back to the dashboard we are. And you'll notice over here we've got these 3 boxes, the edit, which we've already looked at, and we have the thing called code. Code. So if we go down to the code section, which is right there, we're going to click the code. And what's going to happen is this is going to pop up. We can select 4 different codes that we can utilize to put on our page, our post, based upon what we want to do with this opt-in form. As a standard opt-in form, you click here, copy this, copy that, take it over to whatever page and post you want to put it in, and put it in the page, okay? And that will be an iframe then that pulls up this opt-in form at that location in your page or post. Okay, now other than that, you could actually say, let's take, we'll just use this one up here, code, and a 2-step opt-in embed code. That's if you've elected to do a 2-step opt-in code. This would generate a different code that you would take over, because you would have like a selected stock button. You can update your own custom button or no button at all. So and that will create the code. So if I said select stock button and I'd pick one of these, I'd say sign up now, and I want to use that button there. This would be the code that you would carry over, and that's it right there. So now you've generated all the code you need for, in that case there, a double opt-in code. Now also you could have an optional auto open code. That means it's going to open the minute you go into your site. This case here, you can select a delay 10 seconds, 5 seconds, 30 seconds, and this would be the code that you would take over for this opt-in code, this opt-in page, this opt-in form. Thank you very much, Michael, to appear. So that would be the code. The last one is an on exit. Now this is where you would say, if the person starts to leave the page that they're on my site, the minute they get to the point where they're exiting the page, I want this pop-up to dive in. So now at that point, this opt-in form that you've created, this now form is a pop-up. So in that last case, when they go to exit, this will pop up on the page and say, wait, capture more. So it gives you a second chance to keep a visitor on your site. So it works out quite well. It's a very powerful feature. This, by the way, it works really well. I've gotten some nice results from the opt-in forms. I've been very pleased with how these worked out. So take your time, take a look through them. I want to get up here back. I want to go back one more time just to make sure you realize when we look at these, when we edit these and we look at the templates, there's a wealth of templates in here. You notice these are single column templates. So if you don't want them to fit into a certain space, there's ones where you can use the videos. There's very wide if you're trying to do an attention grab thing. You've got one here. These are large attention grabbing things. If you need more space, you're trying to tell a specific story with the opt-in page itself. I'm not saying that's the best way to do it, but some people want to. Like this one here is obviously like a real attention grabber. Got a lot of graphics on it, and so you can make your own decision on how you use these. But remembering they can all be changed. So you've got some nice opportunity here to create some really slick forms. Somebody like me who's not a graphic designer, I found these really powerful for me because I'm not a good graphics designer and never will be. And if anything's got to be done that's really fancy, I guess I have to go to Fiverr and say, hey guys, can you do this for me? Any case, I want to continue on now before we get too buried in here. We've talked about subscribers and how to get them in, and we've got the tools to help you get those in by creating opt-in forms that you can just place on your website, posting pages as you see fit. Next, we've got to talk about lists, because since we've got subscribers, we probably want them in certain scripts or certain lists, and you would decide those based upon how the functionality of what you're trying to do. So if you have multiple niches, you might want to have multiple niches. Niche. In any case, I built a bunch from here because I was really playing around with this. I got carried away, and so in any case, but you can create a new list. The lists are pretty straightforward. The list here, by the way, when you call up this particular screen, it will show you in each list how many subscribers you have, how many unsubscribes have occurred, how many have bounced out, and how many have been marked spam, and also the last time you've sent any email to them, to that list. These 5 icons on the right hand side, this is to edit the list. If you click this, it allows you to go into the list, double check the list name. You might want to change it. Subscriber message that every subscriber gets with every email to let them know why he's receiving this. Can spam requirement. You're receiving the email because, okay? Also an unsubscribe message, because that's again a requirement. All they have to do is click the unsubscribe and they will be removed from your list. So it's all handled for you. You don't have to do anything. But this will say, hey, if I've sent this to you by mistake, I apologize. But you could also say, hey, if you might also be interested in this, and give them a redirect over to some place that they might be really interested in. Double opt-in, I don't use it, but if you do have double opt-in, here's where your double opt-in yes and your opt-in message. So basically, list is pretty straightforward. This is links. This in case you want to link some other application to your Mymailit autoresponder. So there's other software that Brett has sold that can integrate into this. So this would be the integration point. This would be the URL that you would use in those. JVZoo integrates directly into Mymailit. So within JVZoo, if you have got a product up on JVZoo and you've sold it, this link that you provide them will then make sure that purchaser of that product will go directly into the list that you've specified. So this works out really, really well. And every one of these lists will have its own separate URL. This is a clean list. You click this if if you see there's a lot of problems with this list, a lot of bounces and all that, you can click this and it'll clean the list for you to get those out of your hair. This will delete the list. And by the way, if you delete the list is gone, and any subscribers that were in there are gone. So, make sure you know what you're doing when you go to delete this particular list. Lastly, this is to download this list. So if you click this here, you can name a file, download the file to some location where you want to put it, and so you can save them or store them on your own, your own PC if you want to. Download a copy of your list if they're really important to you. Maybe you've experienced a system crash at some time on your website, and you thought, my God, I lost my list, which would be catastrophic. I use a different technique. I use a Updraft, which is a backup service that I acquired, and I use that. But you can still back up these lists here, back up your email list right to your PC. So that's a good thing. Now, let's talk about emails. Since we have subscribers and we have lists, we probably might want to send them emails. So here would be the place where you'd create emails. So you'd have a new message, and you say, I want to create a new message, and I want to create that new message to go out on the 22nd of June at 1 o'clock. That's fine for me, okay? And I want to send this to the list I call BidHub, okay? And I want to use statistical tracking so I can keep track of, all the, how many people subscribed, how many unsubscribed, etc. I'm going to exclude my buyers list for the free downloads. I want to exclude my free downloads list because these are counterproductive. This would be for somebody who I really am selling something to, and this is freebies, and I think I want to exclude these. I'm not going to send these people that particular email. The email subject, this is my subject. That's the subject, and down here, that's a WYSIWYG editor. You can create some type. Oh God, I'm terrible spelling. Type of message. Okay, know that. In any case, you can create this and you can save the message. Now you save that message, and that message now, remember, is for a specific list to be sent out on a specific day and specific time. If you decided I better go check that, I didn't like that message. Oh, there, I think I better correct this here. I better do this here again. I am really the worst typist in the world. Okay, so I've created that, I've corrected that error, and I want to save that message again. So that message is now saved. I could delete it if I decide I really don't want to send that. I want to delete it. Also, I could send it right now. Okay, I can say send the message, but right now I've already got it set up to go on a specific day and time for probably some reason. I've said I don't want that to go out until then because I'm creating a new offer or I'm creating a new product or something of that nature. So in any case, the emails can be these would be broadcast emails. When you create this message is going to go out to a certain list of people on a certain day and time, and it'll go to every one of them. So now you've got a broadcast message, which is basically what emails are typically wind up being. So you can have as many messages in here you want. I mean, just go crazy doing messages. You can have them sent on different days. You can, in fact, you could actually create a sequence using this technique, although it's more simple. It's simpler to just use sequences, which we're going to look at next. Sequences is the cool part of any autoresponder. Okay, you create a sequence which says, I'm going to take a list and I want to send a certain sequence of messages, emails, out to that list on specific days, because I'm timing these to make sure I'm drip feeding them more and more information about what's going on and, or what products that we have, things of that nature. So you would take a list and you would say, I'll create a new list, okay? And this is the sequence name will be Mike's Test, okay? Mike's Test 1. And the email list I'm going to send to is going to be Members Kit, okay? That's a purchasable product. And I don't want it to go to the buyer's list, okay? So I'm going to create that sequence. So now I've got a sequence here, and it's called Mike's Test 1, okay? Now I say, okay, now I want to create the emails now, because this is a sequence, but there's nothing in it yet. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to now create some messages. So I want to create one new message. And I'm going to say, I want this to be sent on the third day after someone opts in and winds up on this list. So they've opted into a form out on my website. They've wound up on this list here. And now I want to make sure I send them some follow-up emails. So I'm going to say, this is a follow-up for your members kit purchase. Okay, that could be what it is. And down here I could have some gobbledygook, and I could say, okay, okay, good. So that was my message. I've got a message to them, maybe a thank you, maybe a follow-up that says, oh, by the way, I've got a tip for you when you're using Members Kit, which is a great product, by the way. You should take a look at it. It's a really good product. But here's something information about that I want to make sure you save. So now I'm going to save this message. And remember, I've saved it because it's going to go to a certain list, okay, all right, on a certain day. So I'll save that message. So now on my message, on my sequence for Mike's Test, I've got on send day, I'm going to send up this message here. So they're not sent yet. I could say I want a new message, and this time I want to send on day 5. I'm going to wait a couple days. This would be the second message. And I'd have a message down here, okay? Some message down here, and I would save that one. So now I've got a sequence. It's a very short sequence, but nonetheless a sequence. And I can walk away from this. I don't have to do anything. 3 days after the first, whoever signs in, opts into this and winds up in this list, 3 days after they wind up in this list, they get an email. 5 days, five days from then, on the 5th day, they get another email. So here we go. We've got, I've got some autopilot here. That's, everybody talks about autopilot. Autoresponders are basically autopilot machines. So now you're out there marketing. You're sending maybe another opt-in form out to the guy, or a lead. You're getting a lead, enticing someone to come in to take a look at something else, and you're out there laying on the beach someplace. We don't have beaches here, so I guess you can't do that. If you had a beach, though, you could do that. All right, now, so we got sequences, which are really slick. Now, if you needed to change the sequence, you go over here and you can change the message. Okay, you can redirect this. Again, I'm not redirect. You could actually recall this message and make changes to it because you decided you wanted to say something else. If you decide you've saved the message, you've already saved it, but you'd like to see what it looks like. Did I make it look weird when it got there? Go here and just send this email here to yourself. Some email address that you have. Do a send now. It'll actually go to your email box. You can open it up, take a look at it, and say, yeah, that's what I want it to look like. Because you can do a lot of formatting here, and you might not like the way it turns out after it passes through these email servers. So test it, take a look. So basically, sequences. Now, we skipped a couple things along the way, and I want to go back to the tools. because we talked about the form builder, and I gave you a list. I gave you a look at the form builder. You also have these other tools. These other tools: form builder, list reports, list checkup, done for you lead pages, GDPR forms, and bonuses. Now, I don't go into GDPR forms. Brett's got a whole training thing on that, but I don't use it. It really lets you create your own GDPR form. So if you need to, that's where you go. Form builder we looked into. List reports. This is where you can do a report on any one of a given of your list. If you generate the reports, I don't have anything in this particular list right now, but it would say the opens, what happened to how many people have opened, 30-day subscriber growth. It'd say, okay, in the last 30 days, here's how many new subscribers come in, and you'd have a graph here. Hopefully it would be like one of these, okay? But you never know. So in any case, that would be the reports. And this is a nice report that gives you a nice little tool to see what's going on with your various lists. Again, you also have a list checkup. Remember, I don't know where you're going to get if you import a list that you've gotten from someplace, it might have a lot of really bad, have a lot of bad bounces and, not good emails in it, okay? Email URLs. A list checkup will go through and check your list out. After you've sent a couple emails out, you can go check your list and it'll come back and tell you, the bounces and spam reports and things of that nature so that you can clean the list, okay? So that's a good tool. Done for you lead pages. This is really slick. What Brett has done here is he's given you a couple of products. There's three products that he's already created the sales presentation for it. He's created all the things you would need just to drop it into one of your posts or your pages and automatically be able to attract the traffic to it, okay? So if you look at this, it's done for you lead pages, and these are great lead pages. These are the URLs that you would use to have people access your lead page. And if they access that lead page, they would go to some place like this. And you would have an entire sales page, okay, with an email entry that you could use because this is now linked to one of your email lists. So anybody who opts in here winds up on your list, and they also get the product for free. You don't have to do a thing. It's all processed through this link right here. So it's sort of nice that he's done it. It's really, you can build up your list. You can actually start building your list up using this. I've done it. It actually works. So you could actually create these, okay, and I'll show you the setup, how you set this up. It's really straightforward. You could do a page name called, again, old Mike's test. Okay, and I'm going to do the currently viewing, okay? And I want it to go on the list for free downloads because it's free download anyway. If I had my own video, which I could have created my own video, put it up on YouTube, I could put my video code in here and play it. If you don't want to go to the trouble, Brett has already supplied a really nice video that talks about this product, provides the login, the opt-in at the bottom, and it's all linked to you, so it goes to your list. I mean, how much better could it be? If you did this here and you want to see what it's going to look like, you click here, and this is the sales page for the particular, the currently viewing WordPress plugin, and it's a great little feature that he's done here. And when they go in, if they get excited, it's free. They click it here. These are optimized for clicks too, because Brett's had a lot of experience on getting people to opt into his plugins and his software. So it works well. It's a proven, by the way, sales page that works really, really well. He's probably done this thousands of times. In any case, that's your login page that they would use to opt in to your email list. So these are provided for free. You can have, excuse me, please. There's 3 of them, but it's enough to get you started. Okay. So there's 3 products on here. Easy to get started. Nice to use. Go back now to tools. This, by the way, you'd like this feature. Going back to tools real quickly. The bonuses. A typical Brett. He always over delivers. I mean, Brett is a over delivery kind of a guy. I mean, everything you buy from him, there's always more in it than you really ask for, and are always happy to have. Believe me. Any case, join his group. This Facebook group is really cool. Join the group. It's worth the time and trouble. You get a lot of information there, and you get to meet a lot of other people that you can kind of view their comments and statements. And so the four plugins, these are all WordPress plugins. He's got Click Bar Gold is the nice product. You can add a click bar, a bar at the top or the bottom that can be a redirect to some opt-in code that you have. You have a statement on it, say click here for more information, and it'll redirect you to a page that you already have prepared. The Facebook Pixel is another cute little WordPress plugin. I use this one. I take my Facebook Pixel code, which I get from Facebook. I put it into Facebook Pixel, and it then makes sure it appears on every page that it needs to appear on, so that I get my tracking done from Facebook activity. I'm getting tired. The next one is Jacker. This is a jacking plugin. It's really slick. It works really well. It's a useful tool. I use this occasionally. I'm not really big on jacking right now. I guess there is a time and place. I happen to use a different one. I think I'll slide it, but it never case. It's a really nice jacker, and it's free. Now, not only is it free, you can use it as a lead magnet. So when you download these plugins, they come into your local PC. You can upload these to your WordPress site and use these plugins yourself, or use them as freebies. You can build your own opt-in page, giving away Jacker Gold, and attract more subscribers to your email list. So it gives you some things to start off with. I mean, remember the basic concept behind how all of us basically do this is we use lead magnets to get people to come in. Something that's free, that is absolutely useful, that they can use immediately without fail, and give us their email address for that product. And these are great little products. They're worth. I mean, there's nobody that I've met that can't use these. The support chat plugin, I don't use it yet. I just said that, and I intend to. And there's a reason I intend to, because you can do it while you're still offline. If you're online and just putzing around during the day, you can leave this. You can actually receive support chats real time and respond to them. If you're off doing something else, you're out in the yard mowing your yard, then it will leave you a message that you can then respond to with email. Also, you could actually link this to your email on your cell phone, so you could take it with you, and if you're laying on the beach someplace, you could get a notification that a message came in that somebody had a question, and you could answer it from there if you wanted to. And so it's a nice little plugin. I intend to use this at some time. I just, life is full of things to do, and some days you just have more to do than you have life. So there you go. So that's the tools, and we've talked about, pretty much everything here. These are some really nice bonuses. This is a great bonus I've done for your lead pages. And so the last thing I want to touch upon is the tutorials. And I don't mean to do it last, but the truth of it is, if you've ever bought a Brett Rutecki product, you will know in your heart of hearts that he gives great documentation. His videos are absolutely phenomenal. I've never bought a product of his that I ever had any trouble learning, as long as I watched the tutorials. On the few occasions where I asked him a dumb question and I had not asked the tutorial, he did remind me that I should read the tutorial. But in any case, the tutorials are really good, and they cover all the things that you'll want to be involved in. The time zone, we talked about that briefly. This goes into it with a lot of detail. Basic setup, I talked to it relatively briefly. This goes into it in great detail. SMTP tutorial, which is great. The SMTP tutorial, because a lot of people are confused with this. You get bad information from your hosting service. You make an assumption that the port's going to be this way, and you just get really messed up. So this goes into those issues very clearly. Nice video here on creating your list, how you create the list, how you get it into the system. Really good one on adding subscribers. How do you get subscribers into the system? It goes into the form builder, etc., etc. And by the way, there's a separate video within the form builder. There's a video on how to use the form builder. Broadcast emails, we touched upon that too, but he covers it very nicely. Email sequences, he covers it probably with more detail than I did, because Brett just does that. Deliverability tips, you really want to watch this one. This is 6 videos that goes into the really nuanced issues about making sure that your email list is used properly, how to get it so it delivers properly without ever being confused with a spam generator. I mean, you know that if you loaded, in this autoresponder, if you loaded 3,000 emails up tomorrow from a list that you had, and you cranked out an email to all 3,000 the next day, somebody's going to look at you really suspiciously. I mean, Google's going to look at you, and everybody's going to say, what's going on? This seems unusual. And the deliverability tips goes in effect, hey, ease your way into it. Send 250. Next time, send 500. Next time, send, make it look like natural growth, because you don't raise any red flags. I mean, you never want to raise a red flag with Google, because they hold all the cards. Their deck of cards are all aces. Ours are mostly 9s and 10s. So in any case, take care of Google and you'll stay in business a long time. Lastly, prohibited use policy. There's some things you can't do on Mymailit, and Brett is pretty strict about this. No spam. Don't be a spam generator. He'll just remove you from the list. No pornography. Well, don't do it. It's illegal, and secondly, it's just not right. Okay, and he doesn't want it on his site. I don't blame him. I don't want to look at a bunch of it either. So here we go. We've got some prohibited use. Take a look at that. It's a real quick little list of be careful of the following things. So we've talked about tutorials, and they're here. There's great tutorials in the SMTP tutorial. I think there's 3 videos here. I know that there's 6 videos down here on deliverability. There's an extra video on the tools section where you go into using the Optin, the Optin form builder. So he's got that ground covered pretty well. Lastly, contact support. Now, the neat thing about Brett and his partner, Mike from Maine, is that they give really good support. You can buy the best product in the world. If you can't get it supported, it's a piece of trash. I mean, what are you going to do with it? Brett gets back to you. Now, he asked you to do a lot of things. Make sure you know what you're asking for. Make sure you let him know what the product is, what your login is, so he can find you. Because he sells a lot of these things. I mean, it's thousands of these. So you have to put all that information down so he'll know how to approach the issue that you've just sent him. For God's sake, read the tutorials, so you don't ask any real stupid questions. Brett has a reputation. He can be a little rough. He can be a little rough if you are asking stupid questions. Some people can't tolerate stupid people. I've asked a few stupid questions, and he was okay. He answered the question, but he reminded me that, by the way, that was in tutorial number 3. Go look at it, which I appreciated. Although I've asked him to help a couple times in cases where it wasn't his responsibility. I had a real problem with my hosting service on the SMTP port, and they gave me totally bad information. I emailed it to Brett. 4.5 hours later, that was 11 o'clock at night, he answered me and said, nope, try this. This should be correct. And I did, and it was perfect. So I got to tell you, the man he must sleep sometime. I have no idea when. But he gives great support. You'll be happy you were involved with Brett Dutecki. He's a nice guy to deal with. Okay, now, we're going to wrap this up. This went on way too long. I apologize. It's just there's a lot of stuff in this autoresponder. There's a lot of nuances. Although the truth of it is, it's very simple to use. It's very complex inside, but very simple to use for the average user. You're just not going to have a problem with it. It'll all make sense. It'll all work like a champ, and you'll be very happy with it. Now, I put a little link down below. Click it. Take a look. It's a single price on it. You invest one time in Mymailit, and that's it. No monthly fees, no upcharges, no extras. It's $97. You'll be happy that you did it, because it's a great product, and it'll work for you. It'll work wonders for you in making sure you can start controlling your list, getting opt-in forms that really will market themselves, because these are all professionally designed templates that are in the done for you, the opt-in form generator. So you'll have some nice stuff to put up on your I guess that stuff is not a good word. Nice collateral to put up on your websites, posting pages. So take a look at it. You're going to be happy with it. By the way, this is Mike Smith from the I Am Life. I'm going to sign off now. I hope to see you in the next episode. Bye now.